Hey guys, this is a continuation of my July 9th update. My alarm came on, so I just wanted to continue talking. I did want to mention that I was listening to an interview with Robert Tulsis, and he had mentioned an actual act in Congress where it came out that non-consensual experimentation could be done on Americans. Then that act in Congress was repealed, and they changed the wording on it and put it back out. And I think this was a while back. They put it back out to say they could non-consensually experiment on humans if there was a lawful reason for it. And I'm not sure of the exact acts, the exact ordinances, but so these underground laws are really used to, I think, at a certain level, justified to some people at a certain level, and then the crime syndicate that's doing it can just justify, because this is about money. They're making money, they're asset stripping. Dr. Horton is right in a lot of her ideas that they're asset stripping. They're trying to get as much money. They're trying to utilize people as resources and murder them, and get communities to surveil each other. It's a huge criminal endeavor. But I think these underground laws, like, oh well, it's done for national security, or oh, there's this law where we can experiment on human beings if there's a lawful reason for it or whatever, which doesn't make any sense. They can tell somebody higher up that and kind of push them back, if they're weary of this stuff. But I think we're getting a lot more people, and are going to get a lot more people, especially with the national, the international TI survey, helping us a lot more people in the medical community and agents. I'm praying so much for that. Because I can't. I mean, I guess I'll have to go through another year of this, but I feel like I can't take another year of this. And I feel like we're on the verge of some very big stuff, happening for us. It has been. I mean, we're watching it as TIs happen exponentially. Watching the awareness. Watching. More police are aware of this in the right way, and I think that we're getting more help from the medical community. I think we're not being put away in mental institutions as quickly as a few years ago. So it is happening, too slowly for me, too slowly for y'all. But we just got to keep doing. We got to keep going. If you're watching this video and you're a TI, you are a warrior and you're a survivor. And we've just got to be as strong as possible now. We've got to be as strong as possible. I can barely think. I mean, y'all can tell. Like, I had a TI friend, and please, he's a real good friend, and he wasn't saying this to be mean, but he was just saying that, in my beginning videos, like when I first started knowing what this was about 5 or 6 years ago, I was a little bit more eloquent. I could go on for about two hours talking just on different subjects about it. And now the mutilation, the torture, and the rape, and definitely the remote neural manipulation, because while I'm doing this video, they are remote neural manipulating me to forget things. They're remote neural manipulating my short-term memory with electromagnetic frequencies, and I've got V2K. It kind of goes to the background when I'm doing the videos, but it still is an influence to my mind, a negative influence to my mind. But it really, it really has affected me. Now we can adapt. We have to adapt, and we have to get past these things. We have to just evolve past these things, past the pain. We've got to learn how to use our brains, with V2K, and resist and make our brains and bodies stronger. But it gets ridiculous, because you're trying all these defenses, and then they just have all the time in the world to, go up and down the electromagnetic frequency scale and change the frequency. Like, I'll give you an example. I have my enclosure, And since I put the grounding blanket and the copper on it, and so it's grounding the copper mesh and the aluminum and thermal blankets under it, the microwaves, like the microwave frequencies that they were shooting through I want to call it my bunker now, not my enclosure, I'm sorry. But the microwaves, like the heat, like where I'd feel heat on the side of my head or heat on my hips, like they would shoot it in my joints and stuff like that, that was stopped. A lot of the microwaves was stopped. I mean, not completely, but a good percentage of that was stopped. So I noticed the next night that I used it, I had one really good night of sleep, and it really worked very well. Then the next night I noticed that I was getting more shock. I was getting frequencies that were kind of jolting, like a more electrical frequency. So what they were doing is they knew that those microwaves, that my my setup was kind of stopping those microwaves, and they can tell that because they're remote neural monitoring the TI, so they can kind of see if you're in pain or what's going on, where you feel pain in your body, because you're thinking about where you're feeling pain in your body. So they can kind of tell by that, and then they switch up, and they'll switch to a frequency, further up or down the electromagnetic scale. And that's what we have to realize. We have to realize that it's like they're not just using microwaves. They're not just using remote MRI technologies. They're not just using radio frequencies. It's the whole electromagnetic spectrum. And that's why we have so much trouble defending for it, defending it in general. So you'll use something, it'll work for a long time, and then they'll find some way to get past it or whatever. So that's why my philosophy, and y'all know this, is to use a lot of things, to use a lot of different things. I'll use my bunker with the copper mesh and the grounding blanket. Then I'll play Dave CD. So some of the frequencies they're using for remote neural manipulation are being counteracted. And I'll use my headgear. This is all my headgear. Like my hat on is from Les EMF, and this is all the stuff I put on my head. It's 3 of the head caps with the little ear flaps, and then 2 Balaclavas. I don't think I'm saying that right. But this does help. I just took it off for the video. But you'll see some of my earlier videos when I just bought, like, I just started buying them, where I do wear them. They really do help. It helps to stop some of the remote neural manipulation and some of the direct beams, to the skull. Getting one right here in the back of my head. I just feel like a heat right there. I can feel the heat on the back of my hand. But I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're finding ways to defend. Please leave a comment. I'm trying to answer comments and do the international TI survey, and keep up with my calls. So it's a lot. And if you've asked for a CD for Dave CD and I haven't gotten it out to you, I'm going to get it out to you soon. I just have a lot of stuff going on, and surviving too is and I'm trying to just survive too. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So